Tonight, we're diving deep into how Pokémon Red and Blue created a 30-year legacy. But before we begin our journey into Pokémon lore, I want to take a moment to welcome you. Whether this is your first night here, or you've made Stellar Sleep part of your nightly routine. For those of you who've been joining us consistently, I want to thank you for being such an integral part of our channel. Be sure to share this video with someone you know who loves Pokémon. If you're falling asleep with us tonight, let me know in the comments how many nights in a row you've been here. And if this is your first night, just comment day 1. I'll be tracking our progress right alongside you. Now let's get back to the video. Close your eyes and let your mind drift back to a time when the world felt much larger and the glow of a small, green-tinted screen was the only window into a universe of infinite possibility. It is late at night in the mid-1990s. The air is quiet, the house is still, and you're holding a plastic brick powered by 4 AA batteries that contains an entire world within its circuitry. You are not just sitting in a bedroom or on a bus, you are standing on the edge of Pallet Town, looking out at the tall grass where adventure waits in silence. This is where it all began. This is the origin of a legend that has spanned 30 years, crossing oceans and languages to become the most successful entertainment franchise in human history. But before the billion-dollar movies, the massive stadium tournaments, and the thousands of creatures we know today, there were only 151. There was only a boy, a rival, and a choice between 3 small monsters that would define a generation. Tonight, we're going on a journey back to the Kanto region. We're going to explore the quiet, pixelated foundations of Pokémon Red and Blue. The games that didn't just sell millions of copies, but fundamentally changed how we play, how we socialize, and how we dream. This is a story of a small team of 9 creators at Game Freak who spent 6 years toiling in near obscurity, facing bankruptcy and technical limitations to build something that many thought would fail. It is a story of Satoshi Tajiri's childhood spent catching insects in the forests of Japan, and how he translated that fleeting sense of wonder into a digital experience that felt more real than the world outside. We are going to deconstruct the architecture of these original titles, from the strange mathematical quirks of the special stat to the social revolution triggered by the GameLink cable. We will look at how a delayed Japanese launch in February 1996 grew into a global phenomenon by the time it reached North America in September 1998. Why does this matter so deeply? Why 30 years later do the names Bulbasaur, Charmander and Squirtle still carry such emotional weight? It is because Pokémon Red and Blue were more than just games. They were a shared cultural language. They established a blueprint so perfect that its core mechanics remain virtually unchanged in the modern era. But beneath the surface of these charming sprites and catchy 8-bit melodies lies a deep well of mystery. How did a game so riddled with glitches and technical limitations manage to feel so polished and intentional? What was the secret alchemy that turned a simple monster collecting RPG into a lifelong obsession for millions? There are ghosts in the machine of the original Kanto region, missing numbers, hidden data, and the lingering presence of a world that was almost too big for the Game Boy to hold. As the world outside fades away and you settle into the rhythm of this story, we will walk through the tall grass together. We will revisit the 8 gyms, the Elite Four, and the quiet beauty of the Lavender Town theme. We will look at how Hiroshi Yamauchi and the leadership at Nintendo took a gamble on a project that defied the trends of its time. We will examine the transition from the Japanese red and green to the polished blue version that became the foundation for the international release. We will uncover the history of the 151st Pokémon, a secret tucked away in the code that changed the course of the franchise forever. This is a journey through time, a deep dive into the nostalgia of the late 90s, and an exploration of the mechanical brilliance that built a kingdom. Whether you were there on day 1, trading with friends on the school playground, or you are discovering the origins of this world for the first time. There is a seat for you here. The batteries are fresh, the link cable is connected, and the professor is waiting to ask you that very first question. Let the soft hum of the music guide you back to a simpler time. Let the history of Kanto wash over you as we explore how a small pocket of digital monsters created a 30-year legacy. This is the lore of Pokémon Red and Blue. This is the foundation of everything. Imagine the silence of a Japanese development studio in 1995. The team is small, the budget is dwindling, and the Game Boy is considered by many to be a dying handheld. The industry is moving toward high-definition polygons and compact discs, yet here is a group of visionaries obsessing over black and white pixels and the sound of a digital chirp. They are building a world out of nothing, a world where every creature has a personality, every town has a colour, and every player has a unique story to tell. They are not just making a game, they are capturing lightning in a bottle. They are creating a space where children can become heroes and where the bond between a trainer and their Pokémon is the strongest force in the universe. As we move forward, we will look at the strategic brilliance of the North American launch, which synchronized the games with the animated series to create a marketing blitz unlike anything the world had ever seen. We will discuss the impact of the virtual console releases and how these games stayed relevant even as technology leaped forward into the 21st century. We will talk about the philosophy of completion, the drive to catch them all, and how that simple hook tapped into a primal human desire to organize and understand the natural world. The legacy of Red and Blue is not just found in the sales figures or the sequels. It is found in the memories of those who stayed up past their bedtime, hiding under the covers with a flashlight, just to gain one more level before the Elite Four. It is found in the friendships made over a trade and the rivalries forged in battle. It is a legacy of connection. So breathe deeply and relax. The journey is long, the world is vast, and the story is just beginning. Let us step into the tall grass and see what we find. In the shadow of Tokyo's creeping skyscrapers, a boy named Satoshi Tajiri chased beetles through the last wild thickets of rural Japan. It was the late 1960s, and Japan was exploding into modernity after the scars of war. Highways sliced through forests like silver veins. Concrete suburbs swallowed rice paddies overnight, and the air hummed with the promise of endless progress. But for Satoshi, then just a wide-eyed kid from Machida, the real world pulsed in the underbrush. He'd wake before dawn, pockets bulging with nets and jars, trekking miles to the muddy streams and vine-choked hills where stag beetles clamped onto branches like armoured kings and cicadas screamed their summer symphonies. Each capture felt like a conquest, a secret bond with creatures that scuttled and buzzed in defiance of the bulldozers, rumbling closer every year. You can almost feel the damp earth under your sandals, the thrill of flipping a log to reveal a rhinoceros beetle's glossy shell, its legs kicking in futile rage. Satoshi didn't just collect. He mapped their territories, traded rarities with neighborhood kids like underground currency, dreamed up hierarchies where the biggest prizes ruled invisible empires. As the urban sprawl devoured those playgrounds, turning his beetle hunting grounds into parking lots, he felt a quiet ache, a loss that burrowed deep. Those vanishing bugs weren't just hobbies, they were his escape, his wild heart in a world gone grey and paved. By his teens, that passion collided with something new, the pixelated glow of arcade cabinets. Japan's game scene was raw, electric, Space Invaders gobbling quarters, Pac-Man weaving neon mazes. Satoshi devoured them, sketching strategies on napkins, but his bug-hunting soul craved more than high scores. In 1982, at 17, he poured that fire into a mimeographed fanzine called Game Freak, pages crammed with reviews, tips and rants on the latest hits, photocopied in dingy shops and traded hand-to-hand among otaku circles. It was humble, scrappy, just a few hundred copies rustling out into the world, but it built a tribe. Readers wrote in, debates raged over Donkey Kong's physics, and suddenly Satoshi had a voice in the chaos of gaming's dawn. Game Freak wasn't born in a boardroom. It sprouted from those dog-eared issues, a labour of love, funded by part-time jobs and sheer obsession. As personal computers trickled into Japan, the NEC PC-88 with its moody synth beeps, Satoshi taught himself to code. Late nights blurred into marathons, fingers flying over keyboards in a haze of instant noodles and CRT flicker. Their first game, Quinty, in 1989, twisted puzzle tropes into something surreal. Blocky Mendel Palace, where quirky characters shoved crates in rhythmic dances. It scraped onto the Famicom Disk System, Nintendo's Wild West add-on. But sales whispered rather than roared. Still, it proved they could build worlds, not just critique them. That spark led them to Nintendo's gates in the early 90s, a pitch that could have ended everything. Picture a cramped Tokyo office, Satoshi and his ragtag crew, barely a handful of dreamers, unveiling prototypes on bulky hardware. Executives leaned back, arms crossed, eyes glazing over endless debug menus and glitchy demos. Bugs on a screen? Kids trading virtual pets? Who's got time for that? The disinterest hung thick, a polite rejection brewing. Nintendo, riding Super Mario's empire and Zelda's legends, saw no fire in this niche fever dream. Doors nearly slammed shut, Game Freak teetering on oblivion. Then Shigeru Miyamoto stepped in, the visionary behind Mario's plump heroism and Link's silent quests. He saw past the rough edges, recognized the poetry in Satoshi's lost forests, digitized into code. Miyamoto didn't just greenlight, he mentored, pulling strings, sharing wisdom from decades crafting joy. Under his wing, that fanzine crew swelled to 9 devoted souls, programmers wrestling Game Boy's grayscale limits, artists etching sprites with painstaking pixel brushes, sound designers coaxing chiptune magic from beeps and boops. They huddled in a tiny Machida apartment turned studio, walls papered in concept art, evolving creatures sketched on napkins, Kanto's hills echoing Satoshi's childhood maps. From those humble sparks, pocket monsters stirred to life, a titan disguised as a portable whim. But forging that blueprint meant battling demons far fiercer than any wild encounter, torment that dragged through 6 years of development hell, where every victory teetered on collapse. From those raw beginnings, as Game Freak clawed its way from fanzine pages into the unforgiving world of game development, Satoshi Tajiri set his sights on something monumental. In 1990, he gathered a skeleton crew of just 9 devoted souls in a cramped Tokyo office, pitching a vision born from his bug-hunting youth. A game where players roamed pixelated wilds, capturing and training fantastical creatures that echoed the thrill of netting rare beetles in Machida's vanishing forests. What followed was no swift sprint to glory, but a harrowing 6-year odyssey that nearly extinguished the studio before it could ignite a revolution. Picture the weight of it. Game Freak, already scraping by on modest hits like Quinty and Mendel Palace, poured every last yen into this unproven dream called Pocket Monsters. By 1992, the funds had evaporated, rent went unpaid, electricity flickered on borrowed time. Tajiri and his team, including programmers like Junichi Masuda and artists huddled over flickering CRT monitors, kept coding through the winter chills, because stopping meant oblivion. You can almost hear the silence in that dim room, broken only by the clack of keyboards and the hum of overheating Game Boys linked by tangled cables. Staffers like Ken Sugimori, sketching endless evolutions by hand before digitizing them pixel by painstaking pixel, watched their paychecks vanish into thin air. No salaries for months on end. Some sold personal belongings, cameras, bikes, heirlooms, to buy instant noodles and bus fares. The bank account hit absolute zero in 1994, forcing Tajiri to beg loans from family and friends, promises scrawled on napkins amid stacks of unpaid bills. Bankruptcy loomed like a shadow over every all-nighter, yet they pressed on, fueled by Tajiri's unshakable belief that this creature-collecting saga would capture hearts the way his childhood hunts had captured his. The Game Boy itself became their cruel taskmaster, its black and white screen and puny 4-megabit cartridge mocking their ambitions. 151 Pokémon, each with unique sprites, cries, animations, stats, evolutions, and moves, had to squeeze into that tiny silicon prison. Early prototypes overflowed immediately. A single Venusaur sprite alone chewed through memory that could have held a dozen Rattatas. Programmers wrestled with compression tricks straight out of Black Magic, custom algorithms to shrink 4-directional walking cycles, palette swaps to fake colour on monochrome hardware, even variable length encoding for Pokédex entries that ballooned with flavour text. Remember the unified special stat? It wasn't laziness, it was survival, categorising moves by type alone/data needs, letting special attacks share one overburdened calculation, trading via link cable. Essential not just for fun, but because no single cart could hold every Pokémon's full dataset without crashing. Bugs plagued them. Ghostly glitches where Charizards phase through walls, or infinite loops trapping players in Pallet Town's grass. Tajiri himself playtested obsessively, chaining 20-hour sessions, his eyes bloodshot as he mapped Kanto's 8 gyms, ensuring the path from Professor Oak's lab felt alive, perilous, teeming with hidden rival encounters. Delays piled on, like relentless rain. By late 1995, a playable build sat ready in October, eyeing a December 21st launch tied to holiday merch drops. But perfectionism struck. Graphics needed polish, Blue's superior sprites demanded a full rework. Sound chips whined under the strain of 165 moves effects. Internal squabbles erupted. Should Mew glitch into existence or stay a myth? Balancing types for the 8 badges took frantic rewrites. Gym leaders' teams overhauled thrice over. Nintendo, their publisher lifeline, held firm. No release until tie-ins like trading cards, and that nascent anime synced perfectly. February 27th, 1996. That's when Pocket Monsters, Red and Green, finally clawed free in Japan. 6 grueling years after inception. A miracle forged in desperation. Through it all, that brink of ruin grind etched Pokemon's DNA. Resourcefulness under pressure, community through trading's necessity, a world bursting at its seams yet perfectly contained. As the cartridges hit shelves, amid whispers of a hidden 91st Pokemon lurking in the code, the real legend began to unfold. Stay with me for Chapter 3, the Japanese launch and the Mew myth, where a last-minute glitch and shadowy rumours turned a delayed debut into gaming's most tantalising enigma. After those grueling 6 years, with Game Freak's team scraping by on nothing but sheer will and empty bank accounts, the moment finally arrived. On February 27th, 1996, Pocket Monsters, Red and Green, quietly slipped into Japanese stores. No fanfare, no massive ad campaigns, just a pair of unassuming Game Boy cartridges, priced at around 4,500 yen each, about $35 today. They weren't exactly flying off the shelves. In that first week, sales barely cracked 30,000 copies combined. Nintendo had printed around 300,000 units total, banking on the tie-ins like trading cards and merchandise that Tajiri had insisted on delaying the launch for. But early numbers whispered failure. Stores reported stacks gathering dust next to other forgotten titles, and whispers in the industry suggested this might be Game Freak's final flop. You can picture it. Kids in Tokyo arcades, flipping past the demo booths for flashier fighters or RPGs, barely glancing at these pixelated bug catchers. Critics were polite but lukewarm, Famitsu magazine, the gold standard for Japanese gamers, gave Red and Green solid scores in the 30s out of 40, praising the addictive loop of catching and battling, but questioning if it had legs beyond novelty. Nintendo's higher-ups weren't thrilled either. Hiroshi Yamauchi himself had eyed the project skeptically from the start. With bankruptcy still a fresh shadow, Tajiri must have felt that familiar knot in his gut, wondering if his childhood dreams of vast meadows, teeming with critters, would end in a warehouse full of unsold plastic. Yet something shifted, slow as a caterpie evolving in the tall grass. Word of mouth started trickling out, not from billboards or TV spots, but from playgrounds and schoolyards. Kids who picked it up on a whim, maybe trading a saved-up allowance or borrowing from an older sibling, found themselves hooked. You'd hear it in hushed tones during recess. "Did you catch the Pidgey by the river? Trade me your Rattata for my Mankey?" Classmates huddled over link cables after school, eyes glued to smudged screens as Pokémon swapped between cartridges, filling out those tantalizing Pokédex pages. Parents noticed too, the endless "just one more battle, please" echoing from bedrooms late into the night. By the end of the first month, sales climbed past 100,000. It wasn't explosive, but steady, like a river carving through stone. That organic buzz carried the games through the spring, pushing them toward 500,000 by summer. Game Freak dodged the grave, not with marketing muscle, but with the purest kind of evangelism. Players couldn't shut up about it. And then, fueling that fire like gasoline on embers, came Mew. Hidden gem buried deep in the code, a ghostly 151st Pokémon, absent from any official Pokédex entry. No Pokéball toss could snag it in the wild. It was the brainchild of programmer Shigeki Morimoto, a quiet genius on the tiny 9-person team who'd slipped it in as a secret Easter egg during those final frantic months. Morimoto later called it a lark, a nod to the mythical creature from Japanese folklore that could transform into anything, learn any move. Mew's stats were godlike, every type immune, every TM compatible, a psychic powerhouse with transformative powers that hinted at evolutions to come. But to find it, you'd need to glitch the game in just the right way, surfing out of bounds on the SS. Or clipping through walls in the Safari Zone with precise button combos that felt like cracking a safe. Word spread like wildfire through trading circles and fan letters. At first it was myth, I swear, someone caught a ghost Pokémon no one's seen. Skeptics called it a rumour, but screenshots trickled into gaming mags, blurry green pixels proving its existence. Then Koro Comic, that raucous Bible for Japanese kids with its wild illustrations and prize hunts, seized the moment. In their May 1996 issue, they launched The Great Mew Hunt, a nationwide contest daring readers to glitch their way to Mew under the SS Ann's invisible dock. Enter by mail with proof and win rare promo cards or even Game Boys. Kids went berserk. Classrooms emptied into after-school glitch sessions. Siblings wrestled over cartridges, yelling coordinates like "Hold B" while jumping off the captain's bed. Submissions flooded Koro's offices, thousands of Polaroids and scribbled maps. Winners were announced in July, their triumph splashed across pages, turning a programmer's prank into national legend. Mew wasn't just a Pokémon, it became obsession incarnate, the unobtainable prize that made every player feel like they were part of something bigger, a secret society bonded by code exploits. Sales skyrocketed. Red and Green crossed the 1 million mark by fall, fueled by Mew Mania and that relentless peer-to-peer pull. Koro's stunt didn't just save the launch, it mythologized it, embedding Pokémon in Japan's youth culture like a virus you wanted to catch. Tajiri watched from his cramped office as orders poured in, the team finally drawing paychecks, the future flickering into view. But even as Red and Green clawed their way to phenomenon status, Game Freak knew the formula needed polish. That's where Pocket Monsters Blue enters the picture, refining the vision with tweaks that would redefine everything. Stick around for Chapter 4, Refining the Vision with Blue, where we uncover how those upgrades turned a spark into an inferno you won't want to miss. Word of mouth had pulled Pocket Monsters red and green from the brink, turning sleepy store shelves into steady sellers across Japan. But Game Freak knew their creation still carried the rough edges of a desperate sprint to launch. Glitchy sprites that flickered awkwardly on the Game Boy screen, sound effects that crackled like static from a cheap radio, and colours that bled into mush under the handheld's dim glow. Those flaws weren't just technical hiccups, they were the scars of a team scraping by on fumes, pouring everything into making the dream breathe. 8 months later, on October 10th, 1996, they unleashed Pocket Monsters Blue, not in every corner shop or department store, but as an exclusive prize for the truly devoted. This wasn't your everyday cartridge. To claim it, you had to dive into the pages of Koro Comic, that chaotic Bible of Japanese gaming kids, and send away for it through mail order. A premium artifact, priced higher than its predecessors, Blue whispered exclusivity to a fan base hungry for perfection. Imagine the anticipation building as you clipped the coupon, scribbled your address on the form, and dropped it in the post. Weeks of nail-biting wait for a package that promised to wash away the original's grit. What arrived transformed everything. Game Freak had rebuilt the sprite art from the ground up. Gone were the blocky, unpolished Pokémon designs that made early Charizards look more like malformed lizards than majestic flames. Now, Bulbasaur's bulb gleamed with subtle shading, Charmander's tail flickered with lifelike embers, and trainer sprites moved with fluid grace. No more stiff walks or clipping glitches that yanked you out of the Kanto wilds. They redrew over 100 sprites, tweaking proportions, adding frames to animations so your Squirtle dashed across grass with a realistic sway, bubbles trailing in crisp arcs. The Game Boy's limited palette suddenly sang, greens deeper in Viridian Forest, blues sharper over cerulean waves, turning pixelated paths into vibrant trails you could almost feel underfoot. And the sound engine, that was the real alchemy. Red and Green's audio had been a placeholder symphony, muddy chiptunes that warbled through tiny speakers, effects like Pokeballs opening that sounded more like a tin can rattling. Blue's overhaul layered in richer waveforms, letting melody lines weave through the overworld theme with haunting clarity, battle cries sharpened into distinct roars. Pikachu's Pika crackled with electric bite, while Venusaur's bellow rumbled low and earthy. Even the gym badges chimed with precision, each note hanging in the air like a promise of victory. These weren't superficial polishes. They fixed the ugliness at its core, code rewritten to squeeze every drop from the Game Boy's hardware, making the world feel alive, immersive, like stepping into Tajiri's childhood meadows. This Blue wasn't a side project or cash grab. It became the beating heart of the franchise. Game Freak folded its code straight into the international blueprint, ditching Red and Green's raw edges entirely. When the world beyond Japan got its taste, it would sip from this refined chalice, superior scripts streamlining the story, sprites that charmed at first glance, sounds that hooked you deeper into every encounter. Blue marked the pivot, the moment a scrappy hobbyist experiment shed its amateur skin. What started as a niche title for bug-collecting dreamers, in urban sprawl now gleamed like a commercial gem, ready to dazzle arcades, toy stores, and living rooms, far from Pallet Town. You can sense it in the shift. Players who clutched those mail-order carts didn't just play, they evangelized. Blue's exclusivity fueled underground trades, fan meetups in Akihabara, where kids swapped tales of Mew glitches from the originals, now banished by cleaner mechanics. The Pokédex filled smoother, evolutions triggered without the old hitches, and that unified special stat, handling both offense and defense for Elemental Fury, felt balanced, intuitive, begging for endless battles. Game Freak's 9-person crew, led by Tajiri's unyielding vision, had iterated their obsession into something scalable, a foundation sturdy enough for gyms, elites, and legends yet to come. As Blue solidified its place, whispers grew louder across the Pacific. Nintendo brass, once skeptical of this insect-fueled oddity, started eyeing maps with new hunger. The polish wasn't just skin-deep, it armoured the games against doubt, transforming word-of-mouth survival into poised conquest. But breaching those ocean waves demanded more than upgrades. It called for a cultural gamble that would redefine gaming forever. That gamble explodes in our next chapter, crossing the Pacific, where a kid's cartoon dub and a perfectly timed cartridge drop turn sleepy skepticism into global frenzy. Stick around, you won't believe how close it came to flopping stateside. Those refined sprites and upgraded soundscapes in Blue weren't crafted just for Japanese mailboxes. They were the secret weapon that would carry pocket monsters across the world's largest ocean. By 1997, Game Freak's little insect-collecting dream had caught Nintendo's eye, enough for localization talks to begin. But when the higher-ups at Nintendo of America cracked open the cartridge, staring at Pikachu's chubby cheeks and Squirtle's doe eyes, doubt settled in like fog over Seattle's harbours. These creatures looked too soft, too whimsical for the gritty tastes of Western gamers hooked on muscular heroes and dark fantasies. American kids, they figured, craved edge. Think hulking beasts with spiked armour, razor-sharp grins, and attitudes that screamed rebellion, not friendship. The skepticism ran deep, echoing all the way to Nintendo's Kyoto throne room. Hiroshi Yamauchi, the iron-fisted president who'd built an empire on plumbers and ducks, peered across the Pacific with his trademark wariness. He saw Pokémon as a quirky Japanese fad, unlikely to survive the cultural chasm. Reports trickled back from test screenings. Focus groups wrinkled their noses at the kawaii overload, demanding redesigns that pumped up the creatures into steroid-fueled warriors. One bold proposal floated through the boardrooms, a full overhaul turning Charmander into a fire-breathing dragon brute, Bulbasaur into a vine-lashing monster truck of foliage, Pikachu, well, into something with abs and a leather jacket perhaps, edgy makeovers meant to mirror the West's love for titles like Mortal Kombat or Final Fantasy's brooding summons, but Satoshi Tajiri and his team held firm. No changes. The soul of Pokémon, the bond between trainer and creature, the quiet joy of discovery, wouldn't bend to market focus groups. Nintendo of America pushed back, then relented. They greenlit the originals, cute designs intact, betting on a miracle to bridge the gap. What they didn't know yet was how that gamble would rewrite the rules. To soften the landing, the launch strategy unfolded like a masterstroke of foresight. 20 days before Pokémon Red and Blue hit North American shelves on September 28, 1998, the English-dubbed anime premiered on Kids WB. Ash Ketchum's wide-eyed adventures, Misty's spunk, Brock's cooking mishaps. They flooded Saturday mornings, weaving lore into living rooms before a single Game Boy even beeped. Kids memorized Pikachu's Pika-Pia cries, debated Team Rocket's bumbling schemes, and felt the electric thrill of that first gym badge long before Pallet Town loaded on their screens. The show wasn't filler, it was priming, turning abstract creatures into household friends, building a universe that begged to be explored hands-on. And oh, the marketing blitz that followed. It was pure blitzkrieg charm. Picture this: millions of cereal boxes transformed into Pokémon cereal adventures, where kids ripped open frosted flakes or corn pops to find holographic cards glued inside, shimmering under kitchen lights. General Mills poured resources into it, flooding supermarkets with Bulbasaur-stamped wheat bricks and Charmander-fueled flakes, each box a treasure hunt that had siblings wrestling over the last Squirtle. Over 15 million cards distributed in months, sparking playground trades and midnight raids on grocery aisles. Then came the streets, alive with Pikachu's grin. Volkswagen bugs rolled out in screaming yellow. Pikachu ears bolted to the roofs, ears flopping in the wind as they paraded through Times Square and LA boulevards. These weren't subtle ads, they were rolling billboards, Pikachu's face beaming from every angle, honking gotta catch 'em all jingles that echoed off skyscrapers. Billboards towered over highways, Pokémon Center pop-ups crammed malls with plushies and demos, and Burger King crowns morphed into Pokeballs, stuffed with toy monsters that kids clutched like gold. Nintendo blanketed the continent, from Australia on October 23rd, 1998, to Europe the next year on October 5th, 1999. The Western versions drew straight from Blue's Polish, those crisp sprites balanced scripts while weaving in red and green's heart. Doubt shattered on impact. Yamauchi's skepticism, proven wrong as cartridges flew off shelves, Game Boys linking in schoolyards worldwide. Within a year, Pokémon wasn't just a game, it was fever, a cultural tsunami that drowned the naysayers. Those cute designs, they hooked souls, proving whimsy trumped edge every time. But what lay waiting inside those cartridges? The blueprint that turned a risky import into an empire. That's where we step into the architecture of Kanto next, where every path, every badge, every hidden corner reveals the genius that made 30 years of legends possible. Despite the doubts from Nintendo of America, those charming sprites from the Blue version locked in place, ready to populate a world that felt alive from the very first step. And what a world it was, the Kanto region, a sprawling pixelated landscape on your Game Boy screen, designed not as a straight line, but as a living, breathing map that invited you to lose yourself in its folds. You boot up the game, and there it is, Pallet Town. Just a handful of houses, huddled under a clear blue sky, the grass swaying gently at your feet. No towering cities, no immediate threats, just your mum's voice calling you home for dinner. Professor Oak's lab waiting next door, like a promise of adventure. It's deliberately small, this starting point, a psychological cradle that eases you into the unknown. In a genre full of sprawling open worlds today, Kanto's opening feels intimate, safe, like stepping out your own front door into a neighborhood you half remember from childhood dreams. That humility sticks with you, making every route ahead feel earned, every wild encounter a thrill, because you've left that cozy bubble behind. From Pallet, Route 1 stretches north. A simple dirt path flanked by patches of grass, where Pidgey flutter and Rattata scamper. But here's where the genius unfolds. Kanto isn't a tunnel, it's a web. Head east too soon, and you'll wash up on the shores of Cinnabar Island, its volcano rumbling in the distance, the air thick with ash even on your tiny screen. Or veer west after Viridian City, and you're plunging into Viridian Forest, where the canopy darkens, shadows shift, and Caterpie dangle from unseen branches. This non-linear sprawl wasn't accidental. Satoshi Tajiri and his team crafted a region where progression loops back on itself, forcing you to revisit towns with new eyes, new strength. Pewter Gym might block your path early, its boulder puzzle mocking your underleveled squad, but that denial sends you circling outward, to Mount Moon's twisting caverns, dripping with mystery, or Cerulean City's cascading waterfall that hides secrets beneath. That looping geography mirrors real exploration, the kind Tajiri chased as a kid, collecting bugs in Japan's countryside. You don't blast through Kanto, you meander, backtrack, fill in the edges of your mental map. Route 22 teases you west of Viridian with stronger wild Pokémon, a hint of power before you're ready, while the SS Anne's deck rocks gently in Vermilion Harbour, its passengers trading stories that pull you deeper into the lore. Every dead end, every detour builds tension, rewarding curiosity with hidden items tucked in rocky outcrops or rare encounters in forgotten corners. It's world design that anticipates your wandering soul, turning the Game Boy's limitations its monochrome palette, its beepy chiptunes into strengths, where a single flickering sprite in tall grass sparks hours of pursuit. At the heart of this maze lies the gym leader system, 8 beacons that cut through the chaos like lighthouse beams. Brock in pewter, Misty in cerulean, Lochtna Surge in vermilion. They're not random bosses but a ladder, each badge a tangible trophy that unlocks the next rung. Collect one and your Pokémon obey at higher levels. Gather 8 and the Elite 4 awaits. This hierarchy is addictive by design, a clear dopamine drip in an otherwise open world. You feel it viscerally after grinding through Nugget Bridge for that elusive item, earning Misty's Cascade badge lets Squirtle surf across waters that once barred you, opening swaths of the map. It's progression you can see, your badge case filling up. Townsfolk nodding in respect, yet flexible enough to let you tackle gyms out of order if you're bold. Surge's electric traps zap you if you rush him. Erica's grass types wilt your fire squad unprepared. That risk-reward loop keeps you hooked, turning Kanto's geography into a puzzle where badges are the keys. And woven through it all is environmental storytelling, subtle nods that make the world breathe without a word. Take Cinnabar Mansion, that charred ruin on the island's edge, its floors collapsed and wallpaper peeling in eternal flames. You creep through its halls, the Game Boy's speaker crackling with eerie silence, broken by ghostly cries. Scattered diaries tell the tale. Scientists tampering with Mew's DNA, a lab accident sparking the blaze, whispers of a hidden Pokémon born from the chaos. No cutscene, no exposition dump, just crumbling walls and flickering text that hints at Mewtwo's shadow, tying into the Pokédex's unfinished mysteries. Or Saffron City's copycat tower, where ghosts haunt the upper floors, their wails echoing the region's underbelly of experimentation. Even Lavender Town's somber Pokégrave tugs at you, headstones marking fallen companions, the music a haunting melody that lingers long after you leave. These spots don't just hold items or trainers, they etch Kanto's history into your journey, making every pixel feel purposeful. Rock Tunnel plunges you into pitch black, forcing reliance on your flash-wielding Pokémon. The walls closing in as Zubats swarm from the void. Seafoam Island's cascading boulders reshape with Articuno's chill breath, a dynamic cave that demands patience. Kanto rewards the patient explorer, its non-linearity a masterclass that influenced everything from Breath of the Wild's divine beasts to modern roguelikes. You carve your path, but the world subtly herds you, gyms pulling like magnets amid the freedom. As you stitch together this tapestry of roots and ruins, one choice echoes through it all, shaping how you conquer Kanto's twists from that very first moment in Pallet Town. In our next chapter, The Starter Trio and the Choice, we'll uncover why Bulbasaur, Charmander or Squirtle wasn't just a pick, it was the fork in the road that defined your entire legacy in the region. As you step out from the cozy safety of your home in Pallet Town, the world of Kanto stretching before you like an uncharted map, Professor Oak calls you into his lab. There, on a simple table, sit 3 Pokeballs, each pulsing with the faint energy of life inside. Your heart races. This is the moment. Bulbasaur, the sturdy grass-type seed Pokémon with its bulbous back ready to bloom. Charmander, the fiery lizard clutching a flickering tail flame that must never go out. Or Squirtle, the plucky water turtle, shell gleaming under the lab lights, eyes full of mischief. Which one do you choose? That single decision, etched into the minds of millions, carries the weight of childhood memories, playground debates, and a franchise's enduring soul. No other choice in gaming history has sparked such passion. Friends divided lunch tables over Bulbasaur's reliability versus Charmander's raw power. Classmates traded tips on whether Squirtle's defenses could carry you through Brock's boulder-hard gym. Even today, speedruns and fan art flood the internet with my first Pokémon stories, each starter a badge of personal legend. Game Freak knew exactly what they were doing, crafting not just pets, but avatars of your journey. Bulbasaur for the patient grower, nurturing its fine attacks into monstrous strength. Charmander for the bold risk-taker, whose flames could scorch foes, but falter against a sudden downpour. Squirtle for the clever defender, withdrawing into its shell while water blasts carve paths forward. This trio wasn't random. They mirrored life's own balances, forcing you to commit early to a playstyle that shaped every battle ahead. And woven into that choice lies the genius of the elemental rock-paper-scissors system, a mechanic so elegantly simple it sneaks profound strategy into a child's pocket. Grass soaks up water like a sponge in the rain, turning Squirtle's streams into harmless puddles, while vines lash out twice as hard. Fire chars grass to ash, Charmander's ember evolving into a blazing inferno that leaves Bulbasaur's leaves wilted and weak. Water douses fire in a steamy hiss, Squirtle's hydro pump extinguishing Charmander's tail before it can roar. You feel it instinctively. No tutorials needed. Your first gym against Brock teaches it brutally. Pick Charmander or Bulbasaur and you're smashing rocks with ease. Choose Squirtle and you're scrambling for workarounds, maybe that odd Mankey you caught on Route 1. But flip to Misty's Cascade Arena and roles reverse in a heartbeat. This cycle didn't just balance types, it taught adaptation, prediction, the thrill of counterplay. Players internalized it through sweat and save states, grasping team composition without a wiki in sight. Hours melted away as you swapped leads, baited switches, learned that no starter reigns supreme. Victory demands harmony. Satoshi Tajiri and his team layered even deeper philosophy into these creatures' growth. Each follows the iconic 3-stage evolution cycle, a deliberate rhythm mirroring real metamorphosis, yet tuned for emotional payoff. Bulbasaur swells into Ivysaur's broader stance, then erupts as Venusaur, a walking jungle fortress with solar beam, charging under sunlight. Charmander hunches through Charmeleon's edgy rebellion, igniting fully as Charizard, wings blotting the sky, roar shaking your Game Boy speaker. Squirtle bulks to Wartortle's streamlined speed, culminating in Blastoise's cannon-riddled tank. Water jets precise as artillery. Why 3 stages? It builds anticipation. Level 16 for the first shift feels worlds away from your starter's wobbly tackle, but by 36, your partner tower's transformed. This progression hooks you biologically, dopamine spiking with each flash of light, turning grinding into ritual. Game Freak drew from insect collecting, Tajiri's own passion, where larvae become wonders, but streamlined it for replayability. Trade evolutions like Alakazam loomed later, but the starter's paths stayed pure, solo journeys anyone could chase. What elevates Bulbasaur, Charmander, and Squirtle to gaming's most recognizable mascots? Their designs scream approachability, wrapped in archetype. Bulbasaur's perpetual yawn and dinosaur charm evoke a sleepy guardian, perfect for easing you into catching wild Pidgey. Charmander's vulnerable tail flame tugs heartstrings. Feed it wrong, and it dims, a subtle peril that bonds you deeper. Squirtle's googly eyes and finger guns pose, pure personality, begging for nicknames like Squirtster. Merchandise exploded because of them. Plushies dangling from keychains, cereal boxes begging for your allowance. They fronted every box art, anime openings, trading cards, icons before icons were calculated. Unlike later starters with flashier gimmicks, these 3 endure as originals, their sprites pixel perfect, even on grayscale Game Boys. Fans tattoo them, cosplay them at conventions, vote them in polls decades later. Nintendo struck gold by making them universal. Kids' first friend, adults' nostalgia trigger. You press A on your pick, the Pokeball bursting open. Your new companion materializing with a cry that echoes through Pallet Town's quiet streets. That bond propels you forward, but soon, whispers of missing entries in your Pokédex pull you toward friends with cables in hand. Chapter 8, The Link Cable Revolution, unveils how that thin wire rewired friendships worldwide, turning solo adventures into unbreakable alliances you won't want to miss. Before we dive deeper into this incredible journey, I'm curious, where in the world are you watching this from? Drop a comment below and let our global community know. And if you're finding this as mind-blowing as I am, hit that like button to help more people discover this story. Once you've made your choice between Bulbasaur, Charmander or Squirtle, that elemental dance of rock, paper, scissors pulls you deeper into Kanto's wilds. Battles sharpen your team, evolutions unlock new power, and the gyms test every decision. But here's the quiet revolution waiting in your backpack. The Game Link cable, that unassuming yellow cord no thicker than a pencil lead. Picture yourself in your room after school, Game Boy in hand, Pokédex glaring back with a taunting 151 entries, most still shadowed grey. You've caught what you can in the grass, fished up the swimmers, but dozens remain locked away, exclusive to the other version. Far-fetched struts only through red's roots, Ecarns coils in blue's shadows. Your Charmander lineup craves a sandshrew that blue players hoard like buried treasure. Satoshi Tajiri didn't just design Pokémon to roam a digital world, he wired them to crawl straight through that cable into yours. He dreamed it up years earlier, sketching visions of creatures tunneling from one Game Boy to another, burrowing through the plastic and silicon like living data streams. What started as a solitary hunt, your Pokémon against the wilderness, flipped into something electric the moment you spotted a classmate with the opposite cartridge. Hey, wanna trade? Those words sparked the first social network of the 90s, long before apps or servers. No Wi-Fi, no cloud saves, just two kids huddled on a playground bench, threading the cable between handheld screens that flickered to life. The screen pulsed with that iconic connection chime, a high-pitched beep that echoed like a starter pistol. Your Venusaur crossed over, pixels marching in a procession, while their Gengar slithered back in exchange. It wasn't optional, it was the Pokédex's unbreakable rule. 90 Pokémon demanded that swap, turning every player into a node in Tajiri's grand web. You couldn't glitch your way around it, no cheats, no solo grind. The cable forced you outside into the real world, knocking on doors or staking out lunch recesses. Friends became allies, rivals forged in the fire of denied trades, schoolyards transformed overnight. Recess battles weren't random scuffles anymore. They were tournaments with stakes. You'd hear the murmurs building. He's got a level 40 Blastoise, but my Venusaur walls it easy, as clusters formed around linked Game Boys. The cable snaked across picnic tables, tethering 8 players in a daisy chain. For massive link-up brawls, controllers passed hand to hand under buzzing fluorescents. Losers handed over prized catches. Winners basked in the glow of unchallenged teams. It birthed the competitive scene right there, on cracked asphalt and swing-set shadows, where strategies evolved faster than any in-game grind. Tajiri's genius shone brightest in those moments. He'd grown up chasing bugs in rural Japan, netting beetles that neighbours coveted, trading specimens under the summer sun. Pokémon mirrored that. Version exclusives like Kabuto and Omanite, fossil split between carts, compelled the same barters, but the cable amplified it 1,000-fold. Your solitary adventure, once confined to Pallet Town's quiet paths, exploded into a neighbourhood phenomenon. Sleepovers turned into all-night trade fests. Bikes raced across town for that one missing Tauros. The beep of connection became the franchise's heartbeat, pulsing through millions of hands. Kids rigged elaborate setups, cables dangling from bunk beds, extension cords for marathon sessions, while parents puzzled over the sudden obsession with wires and monsters. It wove Pokémon into the fabric of childhood, not as a game, but a shared language. You judged playmates by their Pokédex completion, bonded over rare shinies that weren't even in the originals yet. That yellow lifeline didn't just swap data, it swapped stories, friendships, even playground hierarchies. And it all hinged on those exclusives, Tajiri's masterstroke. Why split the roster? To shatter isolation. Red players chased Blue's oddish lines for grass coverage. Blue hunters begged for Red's manky evolutions to counter psychics. The Pokédex mocked your incompleteness until you bridged worlds. In Japan, where Red and Green flew off shelves post word of mouth, Blue's mail order allure doubled the frenzy. Internationally, Red and Blue's identical splits, based on that polished Japanese blue, ensured no one flew solo. North America felt it hardest in late 1998. Game Boys linking under cafeteria tables amid the anime hype. Those schoolyard circuits grew savage. Battles raged with house rules born on the fly. No items, first to faint 3, as crowds swelled, chanting moves like Thunderbolt, Dodge. A kid with a flawless Mewtwo squad ruled the yard, but fall to a clever underdog Starmie, and the throne flipped. The cable democratized it, no paywalls, just skill and trades. It seeded the global tournament scene, from local leagues to world stages decades later, all tracing back to that tether. Tajiri watched his creatures crawling through the wire leap from prototype sketches to reality. Game Boys humming in parks from Tokyo to Toronto. What began as your lone starter's journey ended in a web of connections. Pokémon no longer caged in cartridges, but roaming free between friends. The solitary screen cracked open, spilling into the sunlight, but those battles exposed the raw edges of Red and Blue's combat engine, quirks like the unified special stat that rewarded mind games over brute force. In Chapter 9, the special stat and early mechanics, we'll peel back how those foundational rules shaped every showdown, and why they still echo today. That trading frenzy over the Game Link cable didn't just connect players, it funneled everyone into battles where raw strategy emerged from the simplest foundations. You hand over your version-exclusive Pokémon, link up, and suddenly you're testing them against a friend's squad. But those fights hinged on a stat unlike anything else in gaming, the special stat, a single number that ruled both your offense and defense for anything not purely physical. Picture your Charmander scorching a foe with Ember. That fire isn't just flavor, it's a special move, drawing straight from Charmander's special stat to calculate damage. Now flip it, an opponent's water gun crashes back. Your Charmander's own special stat absorbs that hit, soaking up the harm before it turns into hit points lost. No separate special attack or special defense here. One stat did double duty, blending aggression and resilience into a unified force. It forced you to balance your team meticulously. Pump up special on a psychic type like Alakazam, and it blasts harder with psychic, while shrugging off enemy specials like Thunderbolt. Slack on it, and even your powerhouse crumbles under a single special barrage. This wasn't laziness in design, it was genius born from Game Boy constraints. Satoshi Tajiri's tiny team of 9 squeezed every byte from the cartridge. Separating stats would have bloated memory, complicated the code. Instead, they typed moves by element. Fire, water, grass, electric, all special by default. Normal, fighting, flying, poison, ground, rock, bug. Those leaned physical, slamming through your raw attack stat and a separate defense. Ghost and psychic floated in special territory too. Ice, special. Dragon, special. The split wasn't per move, it was wholesale by type. Thunderwave paralyzes via special, but Body Slam, a normal move, goes physical and might paralyze anyway. Quirks like that rippled everywhere. Take the 165 original moves. Not a bloated list, but a tight arsenal packed with technical oddities. Dig, a ground move, digs physical damage but forces a one-turn charge. Pure physical, burrowing through defense. Surf, the water staple, floods special style, ignoring your foe's special buffer. Hidden power lurked as a wild card. Normal move, but its power and type shifted based on IVs. Those hidden values you couldn't see. No one knew at launch. Players unearthed it through trial, feeling like code breakers. Mirror Move copied the last foe attack, typing it exactly as they used it. Special stays special, physical physical. Metronome, roulette wheel of chaos, pulling any move at random, respecting its innate type split. Hyper Beam's recoil, punished overuse, but only after a physical, normal blast. Recover healed via special channels, no attack involved. These weren't random choices, they etched deep grooves into strategy. You built around types, not movesets. A Starmie with Surf and Thunder Beam, Special Monster, Shredding Ground, and Flying types alike. But slap on a physical Earthquake? Nope. Ground is physical, so it pulls from attack, leaving your watery orb frail if you didn't spec for both. That lack of a per-move physical special split locked the meta in stone for a full decade. Generations 1 through 3 bowed to it. Blissey, the pink blob born from chancy trades, ballooned HP to absurd levels, but tanked specials poorly. Its special stats couldn't keep pace. You exploited that. Stack special sweepers like Gengar, whose Shadow Ball carved through psychics while its own special defense held the line. Physical walls like Snorlax plugged, attack threats, but a Cloyster with special Ice Beam pierced right through. Teams polarized, special nukers versus physical bruisers, with type coverage as the glue. No hybrid monsters yet. Alakazam couldn't pivot to physical without gimping itself. The meta danced on this knife edge, rewarding prediction over raw power. Tournaments from 1998 Nintendo Cups to the early 2000s obsessed over it. Special sweepers dominated until the split arrived in Generation 4, shattering the board. Yet amid this depth, the game's interface stayed disarmingly simple, welcoming kids straight into the fray. Boot up red or blue, and the battle screen greets you like an old friend. 4 moves in crisp slots, HP bars glowing green to red. No menus buried layers deep. Select attack, pick your move, no subtypes, no categories flashing. Just type icons hinting at special or physical flow. Your Pikachu's Thunderbolt? Electric badge says special. Zap from special stat. The pixelated sprites clash in real time, cries piping through the tiny speaker, all on a monochrome screen that demanded no manual thicker than your thumb. That UI stripped away barriers. A 7-year-old grabs the Game Boy after school, mashes buttons in Palette Town, and grasps the special stat intuitively. No spreadsheets needed. Professor Oak hands you your starter. You battle rivals Pidgey. Squirtle's water gun feels strong because its special shines early. Lose twice, tweak your levels via wild Rattata grinds, win. The joypad's D-pad scrolls moves fluidly. A confirms. No confirmation prompts bloating time. Trading slots right beside battle prep. Seamless. Kids traded at recess, battled on buses. Internalized quirks like Thunder, missing in rain, or Solar Beam, charging slower outdoors. Accessibility fueled obsession. Simplicity hid the math that hooked adults too. Even the status screens breathed ease. Stats arrayed in neat rows. HP first, attack, defense, speed, special last, but punchiest. No EVs, no natures, just raw numbers from level ups and rare candies. Evolve your Kadabra mid-link trade, watch special spike, feel the power shift. The Pokédex entry? Bare bones text, sparking curiosity without overwhelming. This purity made Pokémon a gateway drug to gaming. Parents saw harmless monsters. Kids decoded a system rivaling chess, all while the special stat whispered its dual secrets. Those early mechanics weren't flawless. Glitches simmered beneath, waiting to warp your save file in ways no designer intended. Up next in Chapter 10, the Ghost in the Machine will unearth the spectral bugs that haunted cartridges worldwide, turning perfect runs into digital hauntings you won't believe survived Nintendo's polish. Those special stats and elemental quirks didn't just shape battles, they set the stage for moments where the whimsy cracked open, revealing something far more unsettling lurking in Kanto's code. Lavender Town emerges like a fog-shrouded memory. the first place in your journey where the cheerful pixel chiptune gives way to a melody that clings to your ears long after you've powered off the Game Boy. You arrive there after Route 8, winding through quiet paths lined with sleepy Snorlax blocking the way, but nothing prepares you for the shift. Lavender Town's theme isn't bombastic or triumphant. It's a sparse, echoing piano loop. High-pitched notes wandering like lost spirits over a bed of silence. 4 measures, repeating endlessly. Some call it the Lavender Town Syndrome music, a legend born from whispers on early Japanese forums. Players claimed it drove kids to nightmares, even hallucinations. The frequencies supposedly tuned too high for young ears, piercing the brain like a ghastly's lick. In truth, the track was composed by Junichi Masuda himself, clocking in at those eerie 132 Hz tones that vibrate just below discomfort. Japanese players in 1996 traded stories of insomnia, ghostly apparitions in their rooms sinking to the tune. One urban myth spiraled. Turn on the Game Boy at midnight in Lavender. Hold down the up button on the tower's top floor, and you'd hear cries of the dead Pokémon echoing back. Hoaxes spread via photocopied notes in schoolyards, fanzines filled with grainy screenshots of cursed saves. Even Nintendo addressed it obliquely, tweaking the pitch for international releases, dropping it slightly to dull the edge. But for purists playing red and green originals, that raw haunt remains untouched. The town itself feels abandoned, a cluster of monochrome houses dwarfed by the looming Pokémon Tower. Its 7 floors, a monochrome monolith piercing the sky. No bustling markets here, no friendly NPCs hawking wares. Just a silent radio tower broadcasting eerie signals. Gravestones dotting the north side, like forgotten teeth. You step into the tower's entrance, the screen flickering to black and white ghosts, ghastly phasing through walls, Haunter cackling with disembodied hands. Each floor upwards strips away the colour further, battles turning desperate as levels spike unnaturally, and at the pinnacle, the ghost of Marowak. Not just any spectre, this one's personal, a mother-turned-vengeful wraith. You learn her story piecemeal, from grieving trainers downstairs. Cubone, the lonely Pokémon, wears its mother's skull as a helmet, muffling eternal sobs for the parents slain by poachers. Marowak fell protecting her child, her bone club still clutched in death. When you confront her ghost, she doesn't fade like others. She fights with bone club swings that hit like grief itself. No capture possible. Defeat her, and she vanishes, whispering thanks through Mr. Fuji, the tower's hermit elder, who reveals the full tragedy from his saffron hideout. Cubone's lore cuts deepest, hatched from an egg, forever weeping under that skull mask, evolving into Marowak only to pass on the cycle. Fans dissected it. The mask's eyes glow red in battle, tears streaming in animations, cries warped into mournful howls. Pokémon Tower becomes a pilgrimage, players grinding levels not for glory, but to lay her to rest. The game forcing you to battle a mother's undying rage. It's no side quest, blocking progress to Saffron City until you exorcise it. This darkness threads through Red and Blue's fabric, a deliberate counterweight to the sunny starters and badge hunts. Kanto's whimsy, Pikachu's cheek sparking joy, the rival's cocky grins collides with maturity that stunned 98 kids glued to Saturday morning cartoons. Bill's transformation into a Pokémon for lonely storage. The old man glitch birthing infinite Nidos, but Lavender elevates it to psychological horror. Death isn't abstract, Pokémon faint, but ghosts persist, badges earned amid real loss. The game masters this balance masterfully. After Lavender's chill, you board the SS Anne, a gleaming luxury liner docked in Vermilion, promising escape. Rich passengers lounge on decks, vomiting mid-battle from seasickness, a humorous jab amid opulence. Cut the ship loose with HM1, and it vanishes, stranding Bill forever? No, but rumours festered. The real mystery, that empty spot where the truck once sat, fueling the decade-spanning truck legend. Flash to 1998 forums, a nondescript truck on Route 4's beach, unmovable, sparking theories. Move it, and you'd unlock Mew beneath, the mythical psychic hidden from all but glitch hunters. Kids scoured codes, mailed Nintendo pleading for truck keys, even spotted it in anime episodes as fan service. Turns out developer leftovers from a scrapped cutscene, but it fooled a generation, birth of speedrunning lore. The SS Anne's captain hands over HM1 post-battle, warping away your rival in a dizzy feint. But that truck? Eternal tease, mirroring Kanto's knack for wonder, laced with enigma. Whimsy rebounds post-tower. Sylph coasts Sahua after its corporate takeover by Team Rocket, plays like spy thriller, elevators dinging amid hostage rescues, but ghosts echo in memory. The game teaches resilience. Grieve Marowak, then pivot to Brock's Gym Redux or Erica's Greenhouse Haze. Dark themes mature you as trainer. Kubone joining your party a badge of empathy, its skull glinting under stadium lights. Yet Lavender's shadow lingers, the music looping in dreams, Truck's ghost truck haunting save files. These elements forged Pokémon's duality, adventure for kids, profundity for all, cementing why 30 years later we replay for that shiver. As we seal this spectral chapter, prepare yourself for Chapter 11. Glitches, Missing No, and the Wild West, where the code unravels into chaos only the boldest trainers dare explore. Beyond the spectral chills of Lavender Tower, where the Marowak ghost still lingers in your memory, something far more unpredictable haunted the pixels of Pokémon Red and Blue. Glitches, raw, unfiltered tears in the game's fabric turned ordinary players into digital archaeologists, unearthing horrors and treasures the developers never intended. You remember surfing those glitchy waters off Cinnabar Island, don't you? The ones where the sea meets the gym's shadow, but sequence executed with the precision of a ritual. First, you trek to the old man's house on the island's edge. He's that grizzled fisherman type, eager to show off his Pokémon lineup. You let him ramble through his list, answering no when he asks if you want to learn Cut. Then without saving, crucial that, you bolt out the door, mash the fly button, and warp back to Cinnabar anyway. Head straight to the gym entrance, hop on your surfboard, and paddle west along the coast, right into those foaming waves. What happens next defies the game's tidy logic. The old man's Pokémon data, still fresh in the RAM from that unclosed menu, bleeds into the encounter slots. The Game Boy's memory bank, a modest 64 kilobytes, starts overwriting itself. Normally, surfing there triggers nothing but empty blue. But now, the game's code panics. It pulls corrupted sprites from the Pokédex's empty slots, those reserved for the 151 Pokémon you haven't caught yet. And there it emerges, Missing No, a twisted avian form, part bird, part static nightmare, flickering on your monochrome screen. Its name? A stark abbreviation for Missing Number. Catch it, and your Pokédex jumps ahead, logging this phantom as the 278th entry. But the real chaos hits your bag. The sixth item multiplies to 128 copies. Master balls, rare candies, whatever you stashed there. Players whispered of infinite items, God mode teams, yet the price was steep. Hall of Fame records shredded, graphics warped into garbled hellscapes, save files bloated until the game choked on load screens, sprites melting like wax. This wasn't some developer Easter egg. Satoshi Tajiri's tiny team of 9 hadn't programmed Missing No into existence. It was a collision of sloppy buffer overflows and unchecked memory pointers, relics of coding on deadline for that 1996 launch. The Game Boy's processor, the humble Z80, chugged along at 4.19 MHz, juggling overworld data, battle engines, and that sprawling Pokédex array. When the old man's routine didn't clear the buffer properly, surfing's wild encounter table, meant for sea routes, latched onto the residue. Boom, Glitch Pokémon proliferated. M. The blocky fossil twin. Tall grass horrors like the disembodied hand in Lavender's Fence. Word spread like wildfire through 1999's dial-up haze. Forums like GameFAQs lit up with threads titled OMFG Missing No Works. Kids in chat rooms swapped step-by-steps, screenshots grainy from TV captures. You felt it, that electric thrill. Your Game Boy link cable now a conduit, not just for trades, but for forbidden knowledge. Experimentation exploded. Players chained glitches, duplicate the glitch, mon to stack items endlessly, then soft reset to preserve the haul. Others dove deeper, hex editing saves on emulators before they were mainstream, birthing glitch cities unreachable by normal paths. These bugs didn't break the game. They breathed new life into it. Red and Blue launched with a finite loop. Beat the Elite Four, fill the decks, trade for the exclusives. But glitches stretched that horizon infinitely. Hours melted into nights as you hunted variants. Over 400 missing no forms, each a unique RAM fingerprint based on your item order or party setup. Poke gods rose from the ashes of these discoveries, self-anointed wizards posting manifestos on NeoSeeker and Pokémon Stadium boards. I know all 151 locations while they'd boast, hawking fake maps to Mew behind the Nugget Bridge or under that invisible truck in Route 4. Rumours festered in that pre-wiki Wild West. Catch Salibai in the Safari Zone after midnight. Evolve Magikarp into a secret dragon with 100 rare candies. Invisible walls hid Mewtwo's pre-game lair. Forums became battlegrounds, believers versus debunkers, flame wars raging over modem screeches. One kid swore a burglary glitch let you steal from gyms. Another peddled level 99 starters via a Cinnabar well dive. These fabrications hooked you harder than any badge, turning the community into a frenzy of trial and error. Every failed Mew hunt logged hours, every corrupted save a badge of honor. Nintendo watched in horror from Kyoto. Hiroshi Yamauchi, the president who doubted America's appetite for bug-eyed monsters, now grappled with a monster of their own making. Official statements trickled out via Nintendo Power. Do not perform the old man glitch. It corrupts your save data. Hotlines buzzed with panicked calls, kids crying over bricked cartridges. Patches? Impossible on physical carts. They leaned on warnings, plastering FAQs with red flags, even threatening bans from events. But the internet horse had bolted. GameFAQ's threads hit thousands of posts. Zines photocopied glitch guides traded at schoolyards. Misinformation metastasized. Poker gods crowned as lawkeepers, while Nintendo played whack-a-mole. This glitch-fueled anarchy cemented Red and Blue's grip. Players who burned out on the Elite Four re-emerged as explorers, their Game Boys humming through summers of 1999. Longevity wasn't in polished code. It was in the cracks where your curiosity filled the void. Those buggy bites outlasted remakes, fueling speedruns and ROM hacks decades later. And as this digital frontier tamed into legend, a new synergy dawned, one that scripted those wild secrets into a global phenomenon. Tune in next for Chapter 12, the anime synergy, where a yellow mouse and a 10-year-old trainer turned glitches into gospel. While you were out there exploiting the old man glitch and summoning missing no from the game's fractured code, those 8-bit Pokémon were still just pixels on a screen, faceless creatures caught in an endless loop of battles and evolutions, waiting for a spark to make them feel alive. That spark arrived on April 27th, 1997, when the first episode of the Pokémon anime aired in Japan. But it was the English dub premiering on September 8th, 1998, just 20 days before Red and Blue hit North American shelves, that truly ignited the synergy. At the centre of it all was Ash Ketchum, a wide-eyed 10-year-old from Pallet Town, voiced with that perfect mix of spunk and innocence by Veronica Taylor. Ash wasn't just a protagonist, he was the human heart Nintendo needed to sell this world to kids who hadn't touched a Game Boy. You see, the games gave you the mechanics, the catching, the trading, the gym badges, but they left the why unspoken. Why did these creatures obey you? Why did a Charmander look up at you with those teary eyes before evolving? The anime answered that, weaving personalities into the sprites. Pikachu, in particular, became the breakout star. Originally, Ash was meant to start with a standard trio choice, like in the games, but the creators pivoted hard. They made Pikachu his reluctant partner from the jump, a cheeky thunderbolt-slinging mascot who zapped Ash on day one and stole every scene. That yellow rodent with a zigzag tail wasn't just cute, it was defiant, loyal, and utterly unforgettable, turning the franchise's face from Professor Oak's lab to a portable powerhouse that fit right in your pocket. Pikachu's ascent wasn't accidental. Satoshi Tajiri and the team at Game Freak knew the Game Boy's limitations. Those blocky sprites couldn't emote like a hand-drawn cartoon, so the anime poured soul into them. Suddenly, your Bulbasaur wasn't a vine-whipping tank. It was a sleepy seed pod with a gentle rasp, nuzzling Ash after a tough win. Squirtle's sunglasses-wearing squad became a hilarious posse. Charmander's flame flickered with real heartbreak during its lonely nights on the road. The show took the Kanto region's pixelated paths, those winding routes from Viridian Forest to Cerulean City, and transformed them into sun-dappled adventures, filled with the rustle of leaves, the crash of waves at Bill's lighthouse, and the eerie fog of Pokémon Tower. Every gym battle echoed the games, but now you felt the stakes. Brock's Onyx coiling like a living boulder, Misty's Starmie spinning with psychic menace. It humanized the grind, making late-night leveling sessions feel like shared journeys. By late 1998, this fusion exploded into Pokemania. Red and Blue weren't just selling cartridges, they were the gateway to a cultural tidal wave. Trading cards flew off shelves faster than you could shout, "Gotta catch 'em all," that iconic tagline blasting from every TV commercial. Kids traded Charizards at recess, built decks around Blastoise's hydro pumps, and recited Pokédex entries like scripture. The anime aired Saturday mornings on Kids WB, pulling in ratings that dwarfed even the hottest cartoons of the era. Toys flooded stores, Pikachu plushies dangling from backpacks, Pokeballs that actually caught minifigures. McDonald's Happy Meals came with holographic stickers. Blockbuster video stores ran Pokémon marathons, and suddenly every playground was a battlefield. The games hit 10 million copies sold worldwide within a year, but it was the synergy that propelled it. Play the game, watch the show, collect the cards, live the mania. Pikachu wasn't just a Pokémon, it was everywhere. On lunchboxes, t-shirts, even Kellogg's cereal boxes, cementing Pokémon as the zeitgeist king for a generation glued to their screens. Yet beneath the yellow fever, there was a shadow cast early on. Back in Japan on December 16th, 1997, episode 38 aired Electric Soldier Porygon. It was a whimsical tale, Ash's team blasting off into a computer world to stop a rogue virus, with Porygon zipping through digital veins. But then came the flashes, rapid strobe lights in red and blue, synced to Pikachu's thunderbolts. Over 600 kids across Japan suffered seizures, vomiting, or convulsions right in their living rooms. Hospitals overflowed. It was the largest incident of photosensitive epilepsy ever triggered by television. The show went dark for 4 months, episodes pulled, rigorous medical checks mandated for future airings. Porygon itself became a pariah, never appearing in the anime again, scrubbed from merch, a ghost in the machine, far spookier than Lavender Town's Marowak. This tragedy rippled outward, delaying the global rollout. Nintendo treaded carefully, tweaking episodes, toning down effects, ensuring the English dub launched without a hitch. It forced the franchise to mature overnight. Safer animation standards, but no less magic. Pokemania roared on undeterred, proving Pokemon's resilience. Those 8-bit sprites, once glitchy enigmas you poked with cheat codes, now had voices, backstories, friendships that tugged at your heart. Ash's cry of, "Pikachu, I choose you," echoed your own first catches, binding gamepad to screen in a legacy that outlasted the Game Boy itself. And as the fever spread, from screens to tabletops, where kids shuffled cards mimicking gym leader showdowns, a whole new empire was rising, one that would turn paper into profit and strategy into obsession. Up next, the trading card game phenomenon waits to unfold. While the anime wrapped those 8-bit sprites in stories of adventure and friendship, something even more tangible was brewing, a way to pull the heart of Red and Blue right out of your Game Boy and onto the scratched wooden tables of schoolyards everywhere. In Japan, on the same October day Blue dropped for Game Boy in 1996, Wizards of the Coast unleashed the Pokémon trading card game, a deck that distilled every catch, every type matchup, every gym badge grind into glossy cardboard you could hold, shuffle, and battle with friends face to face. Think of it, the digital rhythm of sending out Charmander against a wild Pidgey, now reborn in your palm as a crisp card, with that familiar flame-tailed sprite staring back, stats etched in precise black ink. Energy cards became your fuel, just like PP in the games, attaching one by one to power-up attacks that mirrored the movesets you'd memorized. Flamethrower scorching across the table, water guns splashing back in retaliation. Evolution chains work the same way, starting with a basic Rattata you slap down, then evolving it mid-battle into Raticate if you drew the right card, feeling that same rush of growth without waiting for levels to grind. Even the Pokédex completionist itch translated perfectly. You'd hoard sets to fill binders, trading duplicates under the bleachers, because no collection felt whole without that full set of 102 originals from the base set. But this wasn't just mimicry, it amplified the social core of the link cable trades. Red and Blue forced you to swap version exclusives like Ekans or Sandshrew to catch 'em all. The cards turned that into a daily ritual. Recess became a bustling market, kids haggling over a common Zabra for your prized holographic Venusaur, the air thick with the scent of fresh ink and pencil shavings. Wizards nailed the asymmetry too. Starters like Bulbasaur dominated early metas with Poison Grass synergy, just as they walled water gyms in-game, while trainers like Professor Oak let you redraw your hand, echoing the item pouch clutch moments. Battles played out in turns, prizes taken for knockouts, 8 wins sealing victory, all while the gym leader hierarchy lived on, in theme decks built around Brock's rock types or Misty's swimmers. Japan ate it up first with over 100 million cards shipped by the late 90s, but when Red and Blue hit the West in 1998, the TCG exploded alongside them. Stores couldn't restock fast enough. Walmart aisles turned into war zones of parents grabbing booster packs for birthday loot bags. You could feel the frenzy in the crinkle of foil wrappers, the collective gasp when a holographic hit the table, those shimmering rainbows catching lunchroom light like buried treasure. And nothing embodied that allure like Charizard. That fiery dragon, number 4 in the Pokédex, wasn't just a card. It became a status symbol, a flex whispered about in hallways. Pulled from jungle boosters at 1 in 86 odds, its holographic version fetched kids' allowances in trades. A single Charizard equaling stacks of commons, evolutions, even whole starter decks. By 1999, secondary markets ignited. eBay listings climbed into hundreds of dollars for mint condition holographics, fueling playground black markets where bullies strong-armed rares from younger players. Stories spread of kids melting down plastic wrappers to fake holographics, or midnight raids on sibling binders. Charizard embodied the greed-tinged dream of Red and Blue's collecting frenzy, its 80 attack points and fire spin grip mirroring the unbeatable ace you'd train for Elite Four glory. But now, it sat in your pocket, a tangible god you could lose in a bad trade. This physical chase hammered home the "gotta catch 'em all" mantra harder than any Game Boy screen ever could. In the games, the Pokédex taunted you with empty slots. Cards made it visceral, binders fat with commons but starving for that one Blastoise reverse holo, urging endless booster rips. Expansions like Fossil and Team Rocket layered in new mechanics. Gen 1 ghosts like Haunter, phasing through defences, mirroring Lavender Tower chills, while promo events at Pokémon centres handed out sought-after stamps. You weren't just playing, you were curating a museum of Kanto. Every duplicate traded, fueling bonds or rivalries that echoed Pallet Town's starter rivalries. Success bred backlash, though, as these cardboard battles spilled from tables into chaos. Schools across America and the UK cracked down hard by 2000. Bans in California districts after fights erupted over a traded Machamp. Teachers confiscating decks mistaken for gambling dens. Moral panics flared in headlines. Pokémon cards fuel playground violence, decrying the addictive pull that mirrored video game addiction scares. Parents clutched pearls over demonic evolutions, tying Charizard's flames to hellfire sermons, while economists fretted over kids, draining piggy banks on packs with worse odds than slot machines. In the UK, councils seized thousands in raids, auctioning them off as contraband. Yet demand only surged. Fakes flooded markets, counterfeits with blurry arts smuggled from overseas, turning every trade into a forensic inspection under fluorescent lights. Even as bans mounted, the TCG wove deeper into Pokémon's fabric, sponsoring tournaments where prodigies slung decks for scholarships, their strategies dissecting type charts with the precision of a Sylph co-scientist. It grossed billions, outpacing the games themselves, proving Red and Blue's blueprint thrived beyond pixels. Battles in living rooms, fortunes swapped at conventions, Charizard auctions hitting six figures by the 2010s. You could sense the legacy solidifying, every shuffled deck a ritual that kept Kanto alive in flesh and paper. That card craze reshaped playgrounds worldwide. But Nintendo had one more evolution brewing to lock Pikachu's electric grip on the world's imagination forever. Up next in Chapter 14, the yellow version and the Pikachu effect. I hope you're as amazed by this as I am. If you want to stay updated on more content like this, make sure to subscribe and join our community of curious minds. Trust me, what's coming next will challenge everything you thought you knew. While Charizard cards were turning into underground treasures, traded for stacks of cash in schoolyards and online forums, Pikachu was quietly positioning itself to eclipse even that fire-breathing dragon in the hearts of fans worldwide. Pokémon Yellow arrived like a spark in the dark, released in Japan on September 15th, 1998, and crafted explicitly to weave the raw, pixelated world of Red and Blue into the vibrant, emotional tapestry of the anime that had just exploded onto screens. This wasn't just another colour swap in the Generation 1 lineup. Yellow emerged as the ultimate bridge, a special edition that blurred the lines between game cartridge and Saturday morning cartoon. You started not with a traditional starter like Bulbasaur or Charmander, but with Pikachu itself, that yellow rodent mascot who'd become the face of the franchise through Ash Ketchum's adventures. No more choosing your fate at Professor Oak's lab. Pikachu was thrust upon you, stubborn at first, refusing to obey until you earned its trust through battles and gifts. It mirrored Ash's own rocky start in the show, where Pikachu zapped him on day one and slept on the streets rather than its Pokeball. Developers at Game Freak pored over episodes of the anime, syncing Yellow's story beats to the early Indigo League saga, turning the game into a playable companion to the episodes kids were devouring weekly. At its core pulsed a revolutionary mechanic: the following Pokémon. For the first time, your Pikachu trailed behind you on the overworld map, scampering across Pallet Town's grassy paths, waddling through Viridian Forest, or shivering in the snowy paths near Cerulean. No longer confined to a digital sphere or a Pokeball sprite, it became a living companion. Its animations reacting to the world around it, tail drooping in rain, ears perking at wild encounters, even peeking nervously from bushes. This wasn't mere eye candy, it deepened the bond, making every step feel personal, every victory shared. Pikachu's health bar hovered persistently on screen, a constant reminder of its vulnerability, urging you to check in at Pokémon centers, not just for your team, but for that little guy who'd become your shadow. Game Freak refined the formula with surgical precision, dialing back some of Red and Blue's infamous difficulty spikes to welcome a broader audience, hooked on the anime's lighter tone. Brock remained your first gym leader, true to the show, doling out the Boulder Badge after a rock-solid rematch opportunity. Misty followed in Cerulean City, her water Pokémon splashing across the screen, just as they did in episodes 4 through 7. But Yellow shuffled the roster to echo the anime's journey. Leon surged in Vermilion with his electric army, a nod to Ash's shocking third badge win. Erica's grass types blooming in Celadon, Sabrina's psychic tricks warping Saffron Tower. Giovanni lurked as the 8th leader in his Viridian hideout, his Persian sneering from the shadows, perfectly timed to the anime's Viridian Gym climax. These tweaks weren't random. They invited players to relive Misty's bike theft tantrum or Brock's sisterly chaos, transforming Kanto into a familiar playground where game and show danced in sync. Hidden under the hood, balance adjustments smoothed the edges, stronger rival teams early on, but Pikachu's exclusive access to moves like Thunderbolt earlier made progression feel electric rather than grueling. You could still trade for the full 151, but Yellow locked out starters like Bulbasaur, Charmander and Squirtle as gifts, pushing Pikachu to the forefront while preserving the social glue of link cables. Fans traded not just Pokémon, but stories of their Pikachu's antics, sharing tales of it, dodging Zubats in caves or sparking joy during surf sessions. Then came the Western Blitz, the special Pikachu edition, bundled with a holographic Pikachu hat or backpack in some markets. Launched in North America on October 19th, 1999. It didn't just sell, it dominated. While Red and Blue had paved the way, Yellow outsold them combined in many regions, moving over 5 million units in Japan alone and fueling the holiday frenzy. Stores couldn't stock cartridges fast enough. Parents scrambling amid Pikachu plushies and posters. Kids begging for the version where their favourite character literally followed them home. Pikachu's cheeks glowed brighter than ever on box art, its cry echoing from every TV commercial, cementing the Pikachu effect. One Pokémon rising above the pack to become synonymous with the brand, spawning toys, apparel, and a merchandising empire that dwarfed even Charizard's card craze. This fusion of game and anime didn't just extend Kanto's life, it redefined player attachment, proving that a following companion could tug at heartstrings harder than any evolution sequence. As Pikachu's tail swayed through pixelated sunsets, fans wondered how far this legacy would stretch into the future. That question finds its answer in Chapter 15, the Virtual Console Revival, where we'll uncover how these ancient Game Boy cartridges clawed their way back from obscurity to enchant new generations on modern hardware. Stick around, because the pixels that started it all are far from faded. While Pokémon Yellow captured the spark of the anime, with Pikachu trotting faithfully at your heels through Kanto's pixelated paths, the true originals, Red, Blue, and that enhanced Yellow, languished on dusty cartridges for decades, their Game Boy era fading into nostalgia. Then, on February 27th, 2016, Nintendo unveiled a quiet revolution on the 3DS Virtual Console, re-releasing the entire original trilogy exactly 20 years after Red and Green's Japanese debut. You could download them digitally right to your 3DS, firing up those familiar title screens on a handheld that felt worlds apart from the chunky grey brick of 1996. Picture slipping that virtual cartridge into your 3DS. The screen blooming with the same blocky sprites and chiptune jingles, that hooked a generation. Nintendo didn't just port them over, they preserved every quirk, every imperfection, as if the games had time-travelled untouched. The Virtual Console editions ran the authentic Game Boy code, glitches and all, letting new players stumble into the same chaotic wonderlands that veterans still whisper about. That old man glitch, still there, warping your Pokédex into infinity with Missing No's ghostly form. Lavender Tower's Marowak ghost, hauntingly intact, refusing to stay caught just like before. These weren't sanitized remakes, they were archaeological digs, unearthing the raw, unpolished soul of Pokémon's birth. What made this revival sing, though, was the commitment to the link cable legacy. No wireless approximations or online trades to dilute the magic. Nintendo emulated the physical game link cable right down to the friction of plugging in. You'd connect two 3SS systems, that familiar cable snaking between them, and trade your Bulbasaur for a buddy's Squirtle, just as kids did, huddled on school buses in the 90s. It forced that same thrill of anticipation, the heart-pounding wait as data crawled across the wire, risking the occasional freeze or corrupted save that mirrored the original's wild unpredictability. For a new generation, raised on seamless Wi-Fi battles, this was a revelation, a tactile ritual proving Pokémon's social heartbeat strongest in shared fragile moments. Data miners pounced immediately, their tools peeling back layers of the emulated ROMs to unearth secrets long buried in the source code. Deep in the files, they discovered prototypes of Pokémon that never saw daylight, ghostly echoes of designs scrapped during development. There was a burly armoured creature resembling a lost Steel-type ancestor, its animations half-formed like whispers from Satoshi Tajiri's sketchbook. Floppy-eared rodent variants hinted at evolutionary branches that branched off before final polish. Even unused cries echoed in the audio banks, spectral chirps belonging to beasts that wandered Kanto's code, but never its grass. These revelations painted a vivid picture of the frantic 9-person team's creative forge, where hundreds of ideas clashed before the 151 survivors emerged. Players dove back in, not as kids anymore, but as adults chasing ghosts of their youth. The 3SS's stereoscopic glow adding uncanny depth to those flat 8-bit overworlds. You'd wander Pallet Town at midnight, Professor Oak's lab humming softly, and feel time collapse. The same loop of catching, training, battling gym leaders gripped you anew. Why did it still work? That unified special stat, clunky as it was, forced clever type matchups. Trading remained the Pokédex's unbreakable chain, binding friends across generations. 8 gyms, 8 badges, Elite Four gauntlet. It was a perfect metronome of progression, devoid of bloat, where every wild encounter sparked strategy. Kids in 2016 traded link cable hauls during recess, posting glitch hunts on YouTube, proving the formula's bones were unbreakable steel beneath the pixels. The Virtual Console run lasted until March 27th, 2023, when Nintendo pulled the plug amid the Switch era's rise, but not before millions rediscovered why Red and Blue endured. Sales charts showed teens alongside parents, Pokédex completions spiking as families linked up, passing the torch through cables that echoed playgrounds past. Glitches became features, not bugs. Speedrunners exploited them for world records. Modders wove them into fan games. It reaffirmed Pokémon not as a relic, but a living blueprint, its 8-bit heartbeat syncing perfectly with modern hands. And as we trace these threads from glitchy origins to digital resurrection, the story sharpens into how those core mechanics etched an unbreakable template for everything that followed. Next time, in Chapter 16, The Blueprint for 30 Years, we'll unpack exactly how Red and Blue's DNA coded the franchise's unstoppable evolution. Stick around, because the real architecture waits just beyond the horizon. When those original Red and Blue cartridges flickered back to life on the Nintendo 3DS Virtual Console in 2016, something profound hit home for players old and new. The glitches still glitched, the link cables still begged for a friend with compatible hardware, but beneath that preserved chaos lay a structure so enduring it felt like time itself had folded. You journey from Pallet Town, pick your starter, conquer 8 gyms across Kanto, face the Elite Four, and claim the title of champion. Fast forward nearly 30 years, boot up Scarlet or Violet on your Switch, and there it is again, that same heartbeat pulsing through Paldea's vast open world. The DNA of Red and Blue courses through every mainline Pokémon game since, an unbreakable blueprint etched into the series' core. Picture yourself in Mesagoza, the bustling heart of Paldea, receiving your starter from a professor whose lab echoes Oak's cluttered shelves. You set out, badge case empty, toward your first gym trial, the air thick with the scent of sun-baked earth and distant ocean spray. It's not coincidence, it's inheritance. Game Freak's designers, channeling Satoshi Tajiri's original vision from 1996, have layered modern flourishes atop that foundation. Open zones, terrastall phenomena, co-op raids, but the skeleton remains identical. 8 gyms, each leader a puzzle of type matchups and personality, leading to 4 Elite Four members guarding the champion's throne. In Scarlet and Violet, leaders like Katie with her bug types, or Larry's deceptively normal team, force you to adapt, just as Brock's rock-solid Onyx did back on Route 1. This narrative spine, forged in the pixelated dawn of the Game Boy, bends but never breaks. Gold and silver mirrored it in Johto, ruby and sapphire in Hoenn. Even Legends Arceus, with its ancient Hisui, tweaks the formula into a prequel hunt. Yet Scarlet and Violet, they embrace it wholesale. Your rival taunts you after every badge, echoing Blue's smug challenges outside the Viridian Gym. The Pokémon League Tower looms as an endgame rite, its halls filled with trainers who've walked the same path. Tajiri's small team of 9, huddled in a Tokyo office, sketching monsters on graph paper, couldn't have foreseen Paldea's hyper-realistic vistas, but they built the map every developer follows. Remove those 8 badges, that Elite Four gauntlet, and you'd have no Pokémon at all. And at the heart of it all, those first 151 Pokémon designs stand as the gold standard, a masterclass in creature creation that later generations chase, but rarely eclipse. Bulbasaur's bulbous simplicity, a seed pod cradling potential, evolves into the majestic Venusaur without losing its charm. Charmander's flame-tipped tail flickers like a pilot light in the dark, growing into Charizard's draconic fury, wings blotting out the moon. Squirtle's shell gleams with wet resilience, maturing into Blastoise's cannon-barreled might. These weren't born from algorithms or focus groups. They sprang from Tajiri's childhood bug-collecting days in rural Japan, distilled into sprites that popped against the Game Boy's green-tinted monochrome. Ken Sugimori's artistry gave them life, expressive eyes that convey mischief in Pikachu, ancient wisdom in Mewtwo. Pikachu wasn't even a starter, just Route 1's zap-happy mascot. Yet its rounded ears and rosy cheeks became shorthand for joy worldwide. Compared to newer entries, Sprigatito's feline grace nods to Meowth's street smarts. Fuecoco's dopey grin echoes Magmar's fiery goofiness. Scarlet and Violet's 240 new species dazzle with detail. Quaxly's pompadoured feathers, Tinkaton's hammer-swinging rage. But they measure against that original benchmark. The 151 demanded economy. Every line, every colour pixel served evolution lines, type synergies, lore hooks. Jigglypuff's sleepy serenades hid a partial paralysis trick. Ditto's amorphous blob mimicked the thrill of the unknown. Modern designs, bloated with animations and Gigantamax forms, often feel like echoes, striving for that primal memorability. No element captures Red and Blue's blueprint more vividly than the Pokédex itself, evolving from a humble list into a sprawling digital encyclopedia that spans universes. Flip open your starter Pokédex in Pallet Town, and Professor Oak's voice crackles through the speaker. This is a high-tech encyclopedia containing data on every Pokémon species. 151 entries, each unlocked by capture or trade, filled with crisp Sugimori illustrations, cry recordings that warble through tinny headphones, and terse flavor text hinting at secrets. Venonat's lives in the shadows of mountains evoked misty hikes. Mewtwo's, created by recombination, whispered forbidden labs. By Blue's Japanese release in 1996, enhancements like clearer sprites refined the experience, paving the way for the West's 1998 launch. International players got that upgraded base, not the rougher red and green, syncing perfectly with the anime's Pikachu-led debut. Fast forward, and the Pokédex balloons, Sword and Shield tally 900, Scarlet and Violet push past 1,000, each entry a dossier of habitats, stats, shiny variants. National Dex modes let you chase Kanto's ghosts amid Paldea's paradoxes, yet the soul endures, that itch to catch 'em all and trading via link cable then, surprise trades now. Red and Blue's game link forced friendships, midnight swaps under blanket forts. Today's online hubs echo that social glue. This persistence isn't accident. Tajiri delayed Pocket Monsters Red and Green's debut from December 21st, 1995 to February 27th, 1996, syncing with cards, anime, merch, a multimedia empire from day one. Western Red and Blue, dropping September 28th, 1998, just 20 days post-cartoon premiere, rode that wave to dominance. 165 moves, a unified special stat blending offense and defense, starters as icons. These weren't experiments. They were the template. Gold and silver built atop it, black and white refined it, Sword and Shield tested it, Scarlet and Violet reaffirmed it. Even as spin-offs multiply, nearly 20 mainline sequels, endless side quests, the blueprint holds. Why? Because it works. That linear climb from novice to champion mirrors your own growth, badges as milestones etched in save files. The 151's designs taught balance, cute cells, fierce inspires, weird delights. The Pokédex grew from pocket journal to AR scanner, but its quest remains pure collection mania. As we trace these threads forward, the true measure of Red and Blue's genius emerges not just in gameplay echoes, but in the seismic cultural ripples they unleashed. Numbers that shattered expectations, markets conquered, a sleepy kid's bug hunt reborn as global phenomenon. Stick around for cultural impact and legacy metrics, where those stats and stories reveal just how deep the legacy runs. That blueprint from Red and Blue etched into every Scarlet and Violet showdown, every gym badge grind through the Elite Four gauntlet. It's not just a design echo, it's the foundation of a phenomenon that reshaped entertainment forever, racking up sales so colossal they dwarf entire industries. Consider this, the Pokémon franchise, sparked by those pixelated pockets on your Game Boy screen, has grossed over $120 billion worldwide as of last year. That's more revenue than the combined box office hauls of Star Wars, Marvel, and Mickey Mouse combined. Red and Blue alone shifted more than 30 million copies, but their true alchemy lay in igniting a multimedia wildfire. Games fueling cards, anime, toys, apparel, even theme park attractions. You could fill the Grand Canyon with the plush Pikachu sold since '98. Each gym victory in Kanto didn't just unlock the next badge, it unlocked a global economy where a kid trading a Venusaur in recess sparked billion-dollar supply chains from Tokyo to Times Square. Nintendo's bean counters watched in awe as those initial shipments flew off shelves, outpacing expectations by orders of magnitude. Hiroshi Yamauchi, the company's iron-fisted president back then, had grumbled about the West's appetite for kiddie bugs. Yet within months of the North American drop, on September 28, 1998, Pokémon wasn't just selling, it was infiltrating. Schools buzzed with Pokédex recitals, lunch tables became battle arenas, and suddenly every kid you knew had a starter in their backpack, dreaming of that first Charizard roar. Those sales numbers weren't luck. They were momentum, a snowball of obsession that buried skeptics and built empires. But peel back the dollars and you find Red and Blue rewriting the rules of gaming itself. Before Kanto, RPGs were dense tomes, labyrinthine tales for dungeon masters, with endless hours and graph paper. Pokémon stripped it down to its beating heart. Collect, train, conquer. Turn-based battles became addictive loops, where grinding a Rattata under the flickering streetlights of Viridian City felt like destiny unfolding. Developers worldwide took notes. Final Fantasy leaned harder into creature companions. Dragon Quest infused monster ranches. And then came the clones, Tamagotchi evolutions like Digimon, bursting onto screens in '99 with its own digital menagerie, battling for that same thrill of taming chaos into loyalty. The ripple spread further. Yokai Watch in Japan mirrored the spectral summons. Nexomon aped the overworld hunts. Even Temtem dared Western twists on aerial trades. Red and Blue didn't invent monster taming. They perfected it, turning a niche Shogakukan manga trope into a genre blueprint. Picture studios in Seoul and Seattle sketching sprites late into the night, chasing that elusive spark, the joy of a level-up chime, the gut punch of a type disadvantage flipped by strategy. Pokémon made RPGs accessible, social, endless. You didn't need a party of heroes. Your monsters were the party. Your bonds the lore. And let's not overlook the hardware miracle tucked into that legacy. By 1996, the Game Boy was creaking. 5 years old, battery-hungry, monochrome ghost competing with Sega's Color Blasts. Nintendo eyed the grave for their handheld warhorse. Then Satoshi Tajiri's Pocket Bugs arrived. Red and green in Japan, blue polishing the edges for export. Suddenly, link cables snaked across playgrounds. Trades pulsing data between siblings' consoles. Sales surged past 20 million units for the Game Boy alone, postponing the successor until the Game Boy Advance in 2001. Red and Blue didn't just play on that grey brick, they breathed new life into it, extending its reign by half a decade. Factories hummed overtime, shipping fresh units to kids whose parents had long outgrown the fad, all because catching them all demanded a pocket partner. You can almost hear the plastic creak under thumbs, mashing A to flee wild encounters, smell the faint ozone of alkaline batteries dying mid-battle. That aging tech, once destined for obsolescence, became iconic, cracked screens held together by necessity, traded like heirlooms. Nintendo learned simple, shareable joy trumps graphical flash every time. Now layer in the human thread, the one that tugs deepest after 3 decades. Those Gen 1 players, kids huddled in sleeping bags for all-nighters, whispering strategies about missing no glitches or Mew hunts under blanket forts. They're adults now. Parents, you might be one, firing up an emulator for your wide-eyed 5-year-old, guiding their Squirtle through Route 1 as Pikachu's cry crackles from the TV. "This is how it started, buddy," you say, voice thick with that old fire. Forums overflow with tales, dads recreating rivalries with their daughters, mums passing down yellow saves from the Virtual Console revival. The 3DS ports in 2016 didn't erase glitches, they preserved them, letting newbies taste the raw edge that hooked us. Emotional loops close like evolutions. Your first Pidgey-faint mirrors teaching resilience. That Elite 4 wipeout echoes life's pivots. Pokémon Red and Blue forged connections that outlast cartridges, turning nostalgia into inheritance. Families bond over badge cases dusted off from attics. Grandparents nodding at anime reruns, while grandkids mash buttons. It's not just play, it's legacy passed hand to hand, generation to generation. A quiet revolution where pixels become family lore. Those metrics, Sales pinnacles, genre tsunamis, hardware salvations, heartfelt handoffs, they crystallize why red and blue endure. But the real heartbeat? It pulses back to where it all began. In our next chapter, Chapter 18, The Eternal Journey from Pallet Town, we'll trace that first step out your door, the one that launched a lifetime of adventures, and uncover secrets that still whisper in every new trainer's ear. Beyond the billions in sales and the endless parade of monster-taming echoes across the genre, something quieter pulls at us still. That single pixelated step from Pallet Town's doorstep into the whisper of tall grass swaying under a 16-bit sky. It's 1998 all over again, isn't it? The world outside your Game Boy screen, fading as Oak's lab hums to life, and you choose between the leaf-wrapped promise of Bulbasaur, the flickering tail of Charmander, or Squirtle's steadfast shell. Think back to that purity, unburdened by open worlds or terrestrial phenomena. Kanto unfolded like a secret map in your pocket, 8 gyms etched into its veins, each badge a hard-won key to the next horizon. No bloated rosters, just 151 souls to chase, their cries crackling through tinny speakers that somehow etched themselves into your dreams. You trudge those routes on foot, no fast travel to shatter the rhythm, just the steady crunch of virtual earth under your heels, wild encounters popping like fireflies in the dusk. That simplicity wasn't accidental. Satoshi Tajiri and his 9-person team distilled a lifetime of bug-collecting wanderlust into those circuits, crafting a loop so elemental it feels like breathing. Catch, train, battle, evolve, each cycle a quiet meditation on growth. Your Charmander scratches at pebbles by the roadside, nursing its embers until it roars as Charizard, wings blotting the moon. Squirtle's skull hardens into Blastoise's cannonade. Bulbasaur's vine uncoils into Venusaur's ancient bloom. No voice lines, no cinematics, just the weight of your choices in every leveled up stat. And those sounds, God, those sounds. The Pokeball's satisfying clunk as it wobbles, teeters, clicks, the triumphant fanfare of a gym victory. Brass notes swelling like a heartbeat finally at rest. Route 1's melody, looping soft and eternal, a lullaby for 10-year-olds sneaking midnight sessions under blankets. For so many of us who grew up with Game Boys glued to our palms, those chiptunes aren't just nostalgia, they're muscle memory. They signal safety, that pocket-sized world where failure meant a quick reset, and every loss rebuilt you stronger. That's why this lore settles you into sleep, like nothing else. You've heard these tales 1,000 times, from Oak's gravelly, "Are you a boy or a girl?" to the Elite Four's shadowed thrones. But they wrap around your mind like fog over Viridian Forest. No high-stakes plots or moral quandaries, just a boy's pure quest from hometown grass to Indigo Plateau glory. The music fades in layers, the beep of a healed party at the Pokémon Center, the rustle before a rival's taunt, and your eyelids grow heavy, carried back to when adventure was as simple as pressing start. Yet from that modest spark, look what bloomed, a franchise that outlasted recessions, pandemics, entire console generations. Red and Blue weren't built to conquer. They invited you to wander, to trade cables with a friend across the room, linking your worlds in a spark of shared completion. That small journey from palette to Pokémon Master whispered a promise. Start anywhere, with anyone, and legacy follows. It's why Scarlet and Violet still echo those 8 gyms, why every trainer's bag holds echoes of Oak's Pokédex. A global empire, yes, but rooted in one town's eternal pull. We keep returning to that tall grass of 1998 because it never changes. The Pidgey flutters up, defiant, demanding your first Pokeball toss. Rival Blue smirks from the shadows, his Eevee nipping at your heels. Professor Oak's voice crackles through the static. There's a world of Pokemon out there, and there it is, waiting. No sequels can erase the hush of Cerulean Cave's depths, the salt spray of Seafoam Islands, the lavender haze of Lavender Town, where ghosts murmur soft apologies. In the end, it's not the sales figures or the spin-offs that endure. It's this: the Game Boy's glow in a darkened room, battery icon blinking low as you etch your name into Hall of Fame eternity. Red and Blue didn't just launch a legacy, they mapped the one inside you, a path back to wonder whenever the world grows too loud. Sleep now, trainer. The grass rustles ahead, endless and inviting. Your journey calls. What did you think of this journey? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If this changed your perspective or taught you something new, consider subscribing for more mind-expanding content. And if you know someone who would find this as fascinating as you did, share it with them. These are the kind of conversations that matter.